Hi guys, this is Patrick for ScreenStudio, and today I've just released the new version of ScreenStudio, which is 1.2.4, which does have some new features and now a global shortcut. Like currently I'm using Control Shift R to start or stop my recording. So you can get it at screenstudio.chroms.com and simply look for the download link for the binary archive or the other link for the sources. So what I wanted to talk to you today was to continue on my series of ScreenStudio, how it works. So last time in part 1, I had a talk about, I was talking mostly about the package services, which was explaining how the encoder does work with the XML file. And at some point, I've talked about the sources, and that's what we're going to have a look today. The different sources I have to record and display your screen, and you can have in there the microphones and the webcam and the overlay. So basically, how I put my stuff together. I've defined an audio source, which is in the class microphone.java. And I have another class that will handle anything related to your screen, to your display. Of course, since I can display a webcam, I've created another source called webcam.java, which does handle anything related to your webcams on your computer. And finally, I have the overlay class, which basically does not much in this case, but using those 4 classes as source inside the encoder will let the ScreenStudio select the proper microphone or audio source, the proper screen, the proper webcam, so it can mix together everything and have a recording showing whatever you want to display. So let's start with the microphone. Basically, everything has been worked around Pulse Audio. So if you go in your Pulse Audio settings, click Volume, then Sound Settings, and in there you have your audio sources and stuff like that. So I have the output, the inputs, and some other features I have in there. But everything is accessible from the command line, and since Java is not really good at interfacing native libraries, I simply use the command PACTL, as you can see here. This command does let me list the sources that are currently available in Pulse Audio. So I created in microphone 2 things. First, static functions that will get me a list of sources. Each source, microphone, the microphone class does keep with the information about the device name and the description. That's all I needed to have for building the avconf command line. I need the device, but at the same time, I need a description to display it to the user. So what I do is basically parse the output of the command line PACTL list sources. So what I do here is I launch a process that will execute that command, and then I use an input stream that will read and parse the output of the command PACTL. And what I do, I read each lines each line until I find something that does match a number, saying this is a source number 3. So I'm going to show I'm going to show it to you in the command line. If I type in pactl list sources like that, then I have a list of all my sources, which are quite easy to parse, even though there's a few things you need to know. But what I'm looking for is something that does match this signature: source space number 3. So that's what I'm looking for. So every time I find a line that does match that pattern, then I start reading from it. And I know that how does it work? I'm reading the line, trimming the line. Oh no, I think I'm not actually matching on this. I'm matching on, yeah, I am reading 2 lines, and then I know that the name of the device is here, and the description of the device is just the line after. So it's basically quite easy. The only thing I'm doing is I'm filtering anything called ScreenStudio, because with Pulse Audio, I'm kind of adding a virtual audio device, and I don't want to show that as a source. So once I have all the sources beside the ScreenStudio source, I just return an array of that of microphone's object. Also, microphone does handle the virtual audio. So again, what I do is I parse the output of the command pactl space list space modules. And what it does show me what is currently being loaded. Again, I'm trying to find the device for each device, and then I read the content. If it's something called ScreenStudio, then I will execute loaded modules. Okay, let me have a look. What I'm gonna do here in loaded modules, which is I don't know where it is. Let's go back. I think it's a small function that will... what am I doing with that? Just give me a sec. I'm kind of forgetting what I'm doing. Loaded modules. Oh, no, that's a list. Okay, my bad. Okay, so I add that module here, and all modules are loaded. Once that is loaded, I go here, and then I say for each module loaded, if it was called ScreenStudio, then remove that module, because I want to start fresh. I don't want to have like multiple virtual audio. So I'm kind of cleaning up here. And there's a small pause after each execution, just to make sure that Pulse Audio has had time to do its stuff. And then eventually what I do, I've created a small function that will execute here that command. I'm loading the module that will be the virtual device. And then I'm saying, okay, then link a loopback module to the ScreenStudio virtual device with the first source device that you've selected from ScreenStudio interface. That's the microphone, actually. And then here I'm linking again to ScreenStudio module the second source, which is the desktop source. That's how I handle it. And what it does is it just mixed together everything related to creating that virtual device that will mix together 2 audio sources that you had selected before recording in ScreenStudio. So that's what does the microphone class. It does get me a list of all audio sources, And here, this is the function that I use to create for the current recording the virtual audio. So what it does is it will keep that virtual audio device on until I kind of just ignore it, and I stop the recording, and I will remove everything by cleaning all loaded modules. Okay, so that's the microphone class. Now move on to the overlay class, which is actually, I don't know why I created that, but basically it's just a container to keep a link to the generated overlay file, which is actually an image, a PNG file if I remember well. The structure here is just to hold in memory the file that is currently used, and that file will be passed on to the command line. So it's really a simple class. There's not much to talk about in this one. Now moving on to the screen class. With the screen class, I have to keep a lot of information in here. I have the size of the screen. Meaning that the area I will be recording. I have the ID, the class webcam. So if I'm using a webcam in the recording, then an instance of webcam will be available. Here, see that overlay class I'm using. The microphone for the recording. So the audio input that will be considered as a microphone, and the audio input here that will be considered as the monitor of your Pulse Audio service, the sound from your desktop actually. And then the profile, the command, those are from the service the service package. So am I recording in FLV or OGG or stuff like that? And the command line to use. So basically, have a look at the previous recording, how it works, part 1, to know about profile and command. And then I have the screen index, which is just a counter, and the frame rate to use while recording. So basically, it's just kind of a small structure to know what I will be recording and what I need to mix together. But the interesting stuff is here. Get sources. Again, I'm doing here using a Java API, the list of available displays of your computer, building a list of that, and most often we only have one. But if you have 2 display connected to your computer, then you'll have 2 and so on. So this is telling me and providing to ScreenStudio what is currently available as displays that I can record from. There's something that just appeared in here, capture window area. This is from the new version of ScreenStudio 1.2.4, and that function will actually provide me with information about the screen, the window you want to capture. So each time you open something up, it does have a size on the screen. And I'm using the command xwinInfo, which is available in Ubuntu by default. And I'm just reading the output of that and parsing the output so I can figure out, okay, when you launch that command xwinInfo, let me scroll up a little bit, that application will actually trigger a capture that my mouse will, my mouse cursor will let me click on the window I want to capture. And once I release the mouse button, then the output will tell me, okay, that frame, that window that you've selected is showing up at X and Y has a width and a height. So I'm just parsing to retrieve the information and returning that to ScreenStudio as a rectangle. Here's another function which is trying to detect if avconf is currently installed. Should do something about that, because if you're using FFmpeg, you'll get a small warning about that. And a few functions to get to the internal information stored in that class. So basically nothing fancy here. And the main is just a test. Forget about that. So that's the screen, which does hold everything. As when you start the recording or the streaming, everything will have been stored into this, and then I'm able from this to start to build the command line with avconf to launch it in the background as a process. So that's the screen, that's the root of everything, or almost. And then the webcam, which is quite interesting also. The webcam source class does have basically a few information like width and height selected, the frame rate to use, the device. You know, if you go in on your hard drive, you'll get /dev/video 0, something like that. The layout to use, the description, the ID to use for, sorry for the phone is ringing, the ID to use for that webcam, and the offset to apply. So basically a small structure to get information. And then let's move on to this one, get sources. What it does, first, as you can see, I'm creating a dummy webcam, which is just for the display to show that no webcam has been selected. So I'm kind of adding the first webcam as being none. So I know in ScreenStudio that if that is selected, then actually there are no webcams selected. And then I parse the content of the folder dev at the root of your hard drive and try to find everything called video something. And I know that this is a video source, this is a webcam. So I'm building that list of video source, and from there I'm parsing another folder which is found in sys/class/video for Linux with the that's a folder, and with the device name. Then I'm able to get the description from that file. So just open up your console and have a look at that folder, and then you get all the information that you may need to parse the available webcams connected to your computer. So you see that every time I work, I could have created kind of an interface with that. So all classes, beside overlay, get a function called get sources, and will get me a list of this class, and it makes it easy to work with the concept of microphones, screen overlay, and webcams, and build that together to create kind of okay, when I start the recording, then for my screen, I have a webcam or not, an overlay, and a microphone. And if I'm using 2 audio sources, then I'll work with the virtual microphone, which I've just shown you a few minutes ago. So this is basically how the sources are working. It's quite easy. It's just basically parsing some outputs and working with those sources to embed them into the encoder, which will also have the information about the encoders.xml file, which does list all kind of options and settings for the command avconf. So by combining services here and sources, I'm able to get all the information I need to build the proper avconf command line, and then it's just a matter of displaying that to the screen, and so the user can interact with that and start his recording or streaming as he needs to. That's for part 2 of ScreenStudio, how it works. Hope you enjoyed. Next time, we'll have a look at how I'm building the overlay using the HTML renderer, and it's actually quite easy. It's really not that hard. That's not the best HTML renderer that I've created. I'm currently investigating to find something more efficient, but for now it does work and does provide the information, the overlay that we need. And that will be for part 3, and eventually we'll go into the remote, how it does work, and eventually into ScreenStudio itself, which is, where is it? In the GUI package. I have a few classes in there that are quite interesting to look at. So that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed. And remember to grab ScreenStudio at screenstudio.crumbs.com. Hope you enjoyed. See you another time. Bye.